God, please do not let this be depression. Like, what did I do wrong? What's happening? How do I reverse it? Because I do not want it to be this. Hey babe, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Treasure, your new favorite mental health girly. Welcome babe. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos. This is episode 2 of Living in Alignment, and this video is not actually exactly what was scheduled. I know last video I told you guys that we would be talking about how to balance work life with your personal life for your mental health, but as you may notice, this video is a couple weeks behind because I had some things going on and I feel like that is more important to share first. We definitely will at some point in this video circle back to talk about how to align work life with your mental health. But first, I just want to give an update because it will all make sense as we go. So a couple weeks back, first let me preface this. For a moment, it may sound like, girl, what's your point? What are you getting to? But I promise it will all make sense in the end. So just work with me for a moment. Let me just say that I am someone who, unfortunately, well, the first step is to recognize so we can work on fixing it. But for now, I have at least realized that I only have one good week per month to be very productive when, for the most part, nothing is wrong with me. The rest of the 3 weeks of the month, something is always wrong. So this is because I have really bad PMS when it comes to having my cycle, and the week before my cycle, my emotions are up and down. I don't feel good. I'm cramping. Like, it is just, I'm a total train wreck. Of course, the week of my period, I am down for the count. It is the worst experience ever. And then the week after, my moods are up and down because my hormones are out of whack. It's the 4th week when I am feeling good, I'm feeling motivated, I want to get work done, all of these things. So with that being said, 2 weeks ago, which was supposed to be my productive week where nothing was wrong, my emotions were fine, it happened to be a bad week for me. And the first 2 days, so Monday and Tuesday, I was very confused. I didn't understand like what's going on because I'm supposed to be fine right now. Based off of my calculations, I should be in a good mood. I should be able to be really productive, get work done, but that's not happening. So what's going on? I was beating myself up about it. I was really upset because I didn't understand why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. By Wednesday and Thursday, I had just accepted the fact that, you know what, you're not in the best mood, you're not feeling good, go with it. It is what it is. There's nothing that you can do about it right now as far as like trying to figure out what's wrong, because you have no clue what it is. And the last thing that I need to do is to be upset with myself about feeling how I feel. I need to allow myself to feel these feelings so I can process them and I can move forward. Well, it wasn't until about Friday that it hit me, because I had to pray about it, because the emotions that I was feeling were highly triggering to me because they felt like what I felt like when I was depressed. Now, I have said multiple times now that I am no longer depressed. I've been depressed for now a little bit over a year. I've not been depressed now for a little bit over a year. So why do I feel like I'm depressed when I know that I'm not? And that's very scary because I want to never experience that again in my life. Even though I am thankful that I experienced it, because I don't think that I would have been able to transform into the person that I am today without it, I still don't want to feel those emotions again. Like, they are not a fun experience. So I try my best, which is why I do what I can to take care of my mental health on a daily basis. Like, it's not just a, here and there thing. And I wasn't understanding. Well, I prayed about it because I'm like, God, please do not let this be depression. Like, what did I do wrong? What's happening? How do I reverse it? Because I do not want it to be this. Well, it then came to me because I was having a conversation with my mom and talking to her about how I was feeling, and I was so frustrated because I was supposed to be filming content and I'm behind and like, all of these things. And she just said, talk about it, make a video, post it. Like, that's real life. It's what you're feeling. Go ahead and, talk about it. That's the point of, what you're supposed to be doing. And I definitely get stuck in these places where I confine myself to what I imagine my content is supposed to look like, or I imagine what I'm supposed to talk about, and a certain aesthetic and a certain vibe and like all of the logistics of it. And so it makes me feel like I can't do certain things, and I'm really trying hard to like not get caught up in that, because I'm not the typical content creator. I'm not the typical influencer. I'm not talking about the typical things. So I really am my own blueprint. I can't do anything wrong. So my mom was trying to, reel me back in and tell me like, you're overthinking it. Just film how you're feeling and post it. Well, in having that conversation, I then prayed about it, because I'm like, yes, I understand that I should be filming it and posting that content, but I also want to know what it is that I'm feeling, because the scariest thing ever is to be triggered to think that you are depressed when you know that you're not. And I think that it was most triggering for me because it kind of felt like, are these the emotions that I was feeling before I was depressed and I didn't pay attention to it, and that's what caused me to be depressed in the first place? So I'm very highly sensitive now, and that's kind of, I think, what was triggering me the most or scaring me the most. That was like, these are emotions that you are very aware of, but were you feeling these before? And you just, brushed them off like, oh, it's just a bad day. And am I headed that route again? Am I going to be depressed again? Well, within me praying about it and talking about it, God, amazing as He is, revealed to me very quickly, might I add, that what I was feeling, no, was not depression, because I'm not depressed, but I was losing connection to my purpose. Not in not understanding what my purpose is, not in not understanding how I'm supposed to be handling it, but I was losing the connection as far as it being personal to me, because I have now gone over to the side of depression is no longer a part of me. I'm not depressed anymore. We don't want to see her again. Like, leave her where she was. And, I'm a whole new person. I've transformed. Like, that's in my rearview mirror. I don't want to look back. I don't want to see it again. And God needed me to feel those emotions again, because He needed me to understand, while yes, you are not depressed anymore, you need to be fully connected to those emotions, because that is the only way that you're going to be able to relate to people that you're trying to help, the people that you're trying to reach. If you talk about depression from a third person point of view, to someone who doesn't know you, who doesn't know that you've been depressed before, they're going to look at you and feel like you couldn't possibly understand what I'm going through. You couldn't possibly understand what I'm feeling. So why am I going to listen to you talking about what this feels like and telling me how to fix it because you wouldn't understand? And I know what that feels like because I've been in that position. People that hadn't experienced it before or didn't know what it looked like or didn't know how it felt, and you're trying to tell me, well, just do this or just do that, but you don't know what I'm going through. And so it was God's way of reminding me what it feels like to be depressed so I can keep that connection to my purpose. And I was losing that connection because I've been so stonewall as far as like, I don't want to think about being depressed ever again in my life, that I was closing that door and blocking off the connection. And I can't do that. I have to stay connected. And part of me is very scared to be connected in that way just because I don't know what put me so deep in. I don't know that if I had paid attention to signs or if I knew what the signs were, that I would never be depressed. And like I said, I don't want to ever have to feel that again. So it is a little scary for me to keep that line open, but also understanding that it's important to my purpose and helping me to walk in my purpose to be able to still be connected to it even though I'm not there anymore. And pray to God that I never have to go back there again. I just can't forget what it feels like. So it was, his way of giving me that little bit of reminder, like, don't forget this feeling, because this feeling is how you're going to help people. This feeling is how you're going to relate to people. This feeling is how you are going to get people to not feel this feeling. Remember what you're doing this for. Not just on a surface level of, I'm trying to help people take care of their mental health, but why? What emotion you had that sparked this, that gives you the fire to do what you're doing. So all of that to say that I have now kind of shifted gears a bit and understanding that I need to be more aware and not being in a position where or putting myself in a position where I'm losing connection to my purpose, and making sure that I'm fully aligned in what God is calling me to do and wants me to do. So that is why there hasn't been any content, because I needed to regroup and understand on a different level what I'm doing and bring the connection back. So with all that being said, it definitely helps me to go to or talk about it from a different angle, what work-life balance and your mental health really truly means. Because at least for me, because I'm a content creator, because I'm an influencer, and that is a full-time job, doing that is your whole life. You're filming your whole life. Everything is work. Everything is, content. So figuring out, like, how can I find balance between everything is content and everything you do could possibly be work, versus I still need to take care of my mental health, I still need me time, I still need to have boundaries that I don't allow myself to cross, nor do I allow other people to cross. So I think that is the perfect segue to go ahead and talk about how we need to align our work-life balance with our mental health, and setting boundaries with intention because that is probably one of the most important things that you're going to need to do when you are having a work-life balance. So go ahead, grab a pen, piece of paper, your notebook, so you can write it down. We're going to make it quick, simple, easy. We're not going to do too much because nobody wants a list of 10 rules or 10 things that they have to do. Sweet and simple is the key to taking care of your mental health. Don't overcomplicate it. So the first thing is establishing what work-life balance means. I feel like even myself, hearing work-life balance, I used to think that meant equal time to work, equal time to my personal life, and that is not what it means at all. Work-life balance is being intentional with your time, being intentional with how you're choosing to spend your time with work and how you're choosing to spend your time for your personal life, which is important because you don't want to drain your mental energy, you don't want to drain your physical energy because you're trying to overwork yourself, whether you're overworking yourself at home or you're overworking yourself at work, doesn't matter, which is why you need to make sure that you're being intentional with the time. Let's go over work, because one thing I completely struggled to do was to say no at work. I had absolutely no boundaries when I was working. I would be the one that people would come to and, can you do my work and your work? And I need my work to be done first because my deadline is before yours. And I'd be like, okay, sure, no problem. And wouldn't even get a thank you. So I completely understand when it is hard, maybe you are one of the good ones and you understand what it's like to say no and have boundaries at work. But if you're anything like I used to be, then saying no is probably hard for you. But here's the thing that I need you to understand. Saying no is not selfish. It is essential to your mental health. No is a complete sentence. You don't need to offer a reason of why you're saying no, and you don't need to have a good reason to say no, as far as, oh, I can't because I don't have time, or oh, I can't because I have something that I need to get done. No can be no because you don't want to. That's it. There does not need to be a drawn out explanation. There doesn't need to be a good reason for you to say no. No is simply no because you want it to be no, and it is okay for you to say no. Saying no is self-care. Write that down. Saying no is self-care. It is something that I have to constantly remind myself, because even though I am so much better than I used to be, I still struggle to say no sometimes because I feel bad, or I want to be a good friend, I want to be a good daughter, I want to be a good sister, I want to be a good girlfriend. Like, saying no is still hard, but saying no is not selfish. The next thing that we're going to work on is having clear set times for work. So if you work a 9-to-5 job where your hours are A to B, those are your work hours. Do not take your work home with you. Do not answer work phone calls after you're clocked out. Do not start doing work before you're clocked in the morning, or whatever time you're supposed to be going into work. You don't start work until you clock in, and the moment you clock out, your work is done. I used to be the queen of taking my work home with me. Like, I just felt like it was my duty, my obligation. Whatever I didn't finish for that day, I had to take it home and get it done and finish it, and then start on the next day's work. Absolutely not. That is horrible for your mental health, because you are never giving yourself time to relax. You're never giving your brain a moment to not have to think about things. You are not setting boundaries for, this is my work life, this is my home life. And when you do that, people start to take advantage and will feel like now that is part of your job description, because, well, you're getting all this work done because you're taking it home. Well, then you need to take more work home and get that done too. Absolutely not. Absolutely no. We need to make sure that we are keeping work at work and home at home. So if you're someone like me where you work from home, it can be really hard for you to set a boundary between, you know, working because you work at your leisure or you're on your own time. But we need to be very clear about how we are setting the time for work. So if you choose to work between 8 and 12 and then you take a break, during that break, you are not supposed to be doing any work. Don't think about work. Don't think about what the next thing you need to be doing. Don't say, well, I'm sitting here, I can just, no. If you're not supposed to be working between 12 and 1, you're doing no work between 12 and 1. Another thing that you can do if you're someone who works from home is setting designated work areas. So if you have a desk, you only do your work at your desk. You don't do your work in your bed. You don't do your work on your couch. You don't do your work at your counter. You only do it at your desk. Wherever it is that you designate that work, that's where you do it. Now, if you don't happen to have a desk, that's fine. And, you know, let's say you work from your couch or in your living room, that's totally fine. I would urge you to maybe pick a different spot that you sit in. So the spot on your couch where you sit and you're cozy and you're relaxing, you're watching your favorite movies or shows, you don't do your work in that spot. Sit on a different spot on your couch and do your work there, because then your brain will know, when I sit here, I'm doing work. When I sit over here, I'm relaxing. That can help a little bit if you can't have like a specific designated area as far as like a desk or a table to work at. But the point is, we want to get our brain in a routine of understanding, this is my designated workspace, this is my designated work time, and if I'm not here in this space, or if it's not between this time, I am not doing any work. That is one of the best ways that you're going to be able to set boundaries when it comes to work time. Let me know in the comments if you have any special tools or things that you do to help yourself create a better work-life balance. So that is the end of this video. In the next video, we are going to be talking about aligning our physical health with our mental well-being. And I'm a little bit excited for this one, only because recently I have been doing some different things for my physical health that have been really helping with my mental health. So I'm excited to share, and by the time that video happens, I'll have some results to actually talk about to offer more advice. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think your favorite part of this video was, your takeaways, any thoughts, reminders, anything to add, and I will see you in the next video. Love you, babe.